It was a bright spring afternoon in the small town of Willow Creek, the kind of day where sunlight danced on the hoods of cars and the air smelled faintly of gasoline and fresh rain. Officer Marissa Lane, a 32-year-old police officer known for her calm resolve and quiet strength, pulled into the old Henderson gas stop off Route 47. She had been on duty for 12 straight hours, tired, thirsty, and just needing a few minutes to breathe. Her uniform clung to her skin under the heat, and her brown hair, usually tied neatly, was loose from the long shift. She parked her cruiser behind the building, away from the pumps, and leaned against the hood to take a sip of cold water. But peace rarely lasted long for Marissa. She didn't see them coming. 3 men, faces half covered with bandanas, circled from the alley like vultures. Their voices were sharp, cruel. One of them, tall, wiry, with tattoos running up his neck, snarled, well, what's a lady cop doing all alone out here?" Marissa's hand instinctively went to her holster, but before she could react, one of the men swung a metal pipe at her shoulder, sending her crashing against the car. Her badge glinted in the sunlight as she fell to the ground, pain surging through her arm. They didn't care that she was an officer. They didn't care that she was just doing her job. They just wanted power, someone to hurt. If you believe kindness and second chances can still change the world, take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Stories of Kindness. Every click helps spread real stories of courage and hope. Marissa struggled to stay conscious as the men surrounded her. Her radio had fallen, skidding under the car. She kicked one of them in the leg and tried to crawl toward it, but another stomped down on her hand. She screamed. The sound echoed behind the gas station, but no one came. The world went eerily still except for the sound of boots and laughter. That's when the growl of engines broke the silence. 4 motorcycles appeared from the road, massive, thundering machines with chrome gleaming in the sunlight. The men froze. The bikers slowed, and the sight of the red and black Hells Angels insignia stitched across their jackets sent a chill through the air. The leader, a broad man with a gray beard and piercing blue eyes, swung off his bike. His name was Rex Maddox, a man with a past that carried the weight of broken promises and lost brothers. The Hells Angels weren't exactly known for kindness, but today would change that. Rex saw the scene immediately, a woman in uniform, blood on her sleeve, 3 thugs standing over her. His expression hardened like steel. Without a word, he took a step forward. The air turned heavy. The tallest thug tried to act tough. "This ain't your business, old man." Rex's jaw clenched. "It is now." Before another word was spoken, 2 of Rex's men moved. In seconds, the thugs were disarmed and on the ground. The pipe clattered across the concrete. One tried to run, but a biker grabbed him by the collar and threw him against the wall. Rex knelt beside Marissa, his voice surprisingly gentle. "You okay, officer?" Marissa blinked, dazed. I think so." He pulled out a rag from his pocket, pressing it against her wound. "Stay with me. You're safe now." The irony wasn't lost on her, help arriving not in the form of a police car, but from the very men she'd been trained to keep an eye on. Rex called out to his crew. "Get her radio. Call it in." Within minutes, backup was on its way. The thugs were restrained, and the sound of sirens grew louder in the distance. Marissa sat against the wall, breathing shakily. She looked up at Rex. "Why did you stop?" He shrugged. "We don't like cowards who pick on people who can't fight back." She studied him for a moment, his leather jacket faded, his hands scarred, and his eyes weary but kind. "You didn't have to help me." Rex looked away, almost uncomfortable with the gratitude. "Maybe not. But sometimes you do what's right just because it's right." When her fellow officers arrived, they froze at the sight of the Hells Angels standing around her protectively. One of the younger cops tensed, hand on his weapon. But Marissa stopped him. "They saved my life," she said firmly. "Don't you dare point a gun at them." The scene made the evening news. Hells Angels rescue female officer from attack flashed across every local channel. Some people doubted it at first. Others called it staged. But those who knew Rex's crew, their rough edges, their silent loyalty, knew it was possible. Because sometimes redemption doesn't ride in quietly. It thunders in on two wheels. Marissa took 2 weeks off after the attack. Her arm was in a sling, her shoulder bruised, but what hurt most was the fear she couldn't shake. Every noise behind her made her flinch. Every alley reminded her of that day. But she also couldn't stop thinking about Rex and his men. Society painted them as villains, but they'd shown her more humanity than some of her own colleagues ever had. On her first day back, she drove out to the outskirts of town, where a rundown biker bar called the Iron House sat surrounded by rows of motorcycles. She hesitated before stepping inside. The smell of oil, beer, and old wood filled the air. Conversations died when she entered an officer in uniform walking into a place where cops usually weren't welcome. Rex was sitting at the bar, sipping coffee instead of beer. When he saw her, a smile crept across his face. "Didn't expect to see you here, Officer Lane." She managed a small smile. "Just wanted to say thank you, properly." He nodded. "You already did, when you stopped your guys from pulling their guns on us." They talked for nearly an hour. She learned that Rex had lost a brother in the army, another to addiction. He'd once been arrested himself, years ago, but had spent his later life keeping younger bikers out of trouble. "You can't change what people think of you," he said, "but you can choose to be better anyway."